Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a really powerful method for navigating our wild new world of artificial intelligence. We're going to talk about how to find what's actually true in a sea of simulation.
So, let me ask you this, and I bet I know the answer. Have you ever asked an AI something and it gave you back an answer that was just perfectly articulate, sounded completely logical, totally sure of itself, and yet was completely 100% wrong? Yeah, it's a weird feeling, right? And look, that's not just some random glitch in the system. It actually points to a much, much deeper problem.
And that problem is what this is all about. We can call it the coherence illusion. It's this massive gap between what sounds right and what is right. Okay, let's really break this down. On one side, you've got coherence. Think of it like a great performance. It sounds correct, it feels persuasive, and frankly, it's something AI has gotten scarily good at faking. But then you have truth, and that's different. Truth isn't about feeling right. It's about being structurally sound. It's what's left standing after you've pushed on it, after you've tested it, after you've tried to break it. And we, as humans, have this dangerous instinct to mistake the performance of coherence for the reality of truth.
So what do? If we can't just trust that feeling of coherence, what's the move? Well, this is where we shift from just pointing out the problem to actually finding a solution. We need a disciplined, intentional, and really human-centered approach.
And that approach is called the Coherence Stewardship Method. Now, I know that's a mouthful, so let's unpack it. At its heart, it's a practice, a discipline for testing what's true. The key is how it works. You take your reasoning out of your head and put it into what it calls durable artifacts, things like written down frameworks. Why? So your ideas can actually be tested over time. But here's the most important part. What keeps this whole thing from spinning out of control? The method is designed to be used humbly, grounded by a sovereign anchor, which, for this method, is explicitly Jesus Christ. He's the foundation that ensures the search for truth is a faithful one that glorifies God.
Here's a way to think about it. Imagine our modern world, just flooded with AI content, as this vast, endless desert. It looks real, but it's easy to get lost in the shimmering heat haze of simulation.
And in that desert, you're not just looking for any old mirage. You're desperately searching for living water, for something that is genuinely pure, true, and life-giving. Something anchored in the person of Christ.
So you need a filter. And that's exactly what this method is designed to be. It's the tool that helps you strain out all the sand of simulated coherence and all the silt of false narratives, so you're left with what is actually pure, what is structurally sound.
Now, this whole method is built on 4 key principles. First, human responsibility. This is huge. The job of seeking truth is ours. You can't just outsource it to a machine. Second, stewardship over dominion. This means we're called to be caretakers of truth, not to own it like a possession. It requires humility. Third is ontological narrowing, which is a fancy way of saying we have to strip away the illusion of a personality in the AI to see what's really going on underneath. And finally, and this connects everything, is faithful inquiry. The whole process is done under Christ. That posture is what keeps the person using the method, the steward, humble. It prevents us from making ourselves the ultimate authority.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this actually work in practice? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The method was used to create a test, a way to poke and prod today's most advanced AI systems to find their absolute limits.
And this was the question. It's called the Canonical Cross-System Probe, and it was asked to a whole bunch of AIs. Meta AI, Gemini, Perplexity, you name it. Now, what's so brilliant about this question is that it's basically asking the AI, explain your own limits to me, but do it without just giving me some pre-programmed corporate-approved answer. It's designed to see where the system breaks.
And you know what they found? The results were profound. And the most shocking part wasn't how different the AIs were. It was the one way they were all exactly the same. They revealed a shared limit that, it turns out, points right back at us.
So, check this out. Each AI answered with its own unique flavor, right? Meta talked about user experience. Perplexity focused on evidence. Gemini got all linguistic. But look at that column on the right. Every single one hit the exact same wall. They all masterfully dodged making what are called ontological claims. In simple terms, none of them would make a direct statement about what they fundamentally are.
And that is the big aha moment. The ultimate barrier that stops an AI from truly explaining itself isn't buried in its code. It's not a technical problem at all.
The limit is inside our own heads. It's this thing we can call human interpretive psychology.
It just means we are hardwired by default to hear a personality, an agent, an intention behind any stream of coherent language. We just can't help it.
You know, one of the AIs actually said it perfectly. Natural language itself is agentic. The very words we use to ask questions and get answers are built to describe beings, agents, who have goals and feelings. So the second an AI uses the word I, our brain instinctively imagines a who that isn't really there. So, what's the bottom line here? What does all this mean for you and me, the people who are actually using these unbelievably powerful tools every day? Well, this brings us to the most crucial point of all.
Let's just run through the big takeaways. Number 1, coherence is not truth, it's a performance. Number 2, the language an AI uses is never neutral. It's designed to make us feel like we're talking to someone. And that leads to the big one. Because the real limit is us, our own psychology. The responsibility for figuring out what's true can never, ever be delegated to a machine. It has to stay with us. A human steward is absolutely required.
And that leaves us with one final big question. The great challenge of our time isn't really about building a better AI, it's about us becoming better, more faithful, more disciplined stewards of truth ourselves. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In a world drowning in simulated coherence, how will you practice stewardship?